Hi, my name is John Morton. I am writer, creator, contributor to Ninth Space Calvary. I'm here to talk to you today about one of the characters in our screenplay series, Ninth Space Calvary, Admiral Race Bannon. Admiral Bannon is a guy at the end of his career. He's an old dog. Everybody he serves with is about half his age, more or less. And he's moved up the ranks from Commandant when we're first introduced to him in the Cirrus Affair, where he's more like a vice admiral than admiral, to full-on first star admiral. And he becomes admiral of the 9th Space Calvary, his flagship being the Cyron. He's thrust into this role out of the blue because of a bombing on Draco Alpha 4, a planet 2 years ago that was very key in the Cirrus Affair, in regards to another incident called the Virgin River incident. Now, he has come back to 9th Space Calvary. He's part of the overall, he's the head of the overall team and subordinate to Admiral Gates, whom is one of our main characters in a Cirrus Affair. Bannon also is a main character there in the sense that we kind of get to see him in more of a advisory capacity. We see where people saw the potential in him to be admiral. Now he has become admiral, and but it's admiral of a unit, a covert operations unit against the Orion cartels, who are a little more than drug cartels. He essentially is the admiral in charge of destroying the drug fields like you would think of in Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, through the use of space forces, which includes a landing troop commanded by Adama Keys, bomber wings, specifically the one commanded by Captain Paul Michel, and of course in that you also have to have transport, which is the Armadillo, identified as the Armadillo Wing, which is captained by Captain Susan Day, probably the youngest member of our fleet. So, certainly the youngest captain of the fleet. So he has this multi-duty role, and in addition to that, he has to play diplomat to the governors of the various outlying worlds in the Orion Belt, which are still technically under Earth Core command. They haven't formalized a government of their own yet. So he's really in a position where not only could he be killed at any point, but he has to play diplomat and soldier. So it's this very dualistic role that he's both uncomfortable with and annoyed by. A lot of the reason he thinks that he was put in this role is due to his loyalty to Admiral Gates, specifically during a Cirrus Affair. His contact to the Earth Core government is in the form of the Naval Intelligence Chief, Admiral Lloyd, who is kind of a very eccentric character in his own right. We describe him as sort of the Samuel Clemens of the fleet, this very wily haired man whom you expect to have come from the Deep South, who also happens to be a Muslim, and has that very takes Muslim history and applies it into the naval tactics of today. So he kind of thinks of, Lloyd thinks of himself as Emperor Sultan Suleiman with Admiral Bannon, he's grooming to be his Delot. That sort of the sailor on the seven seas, attacking and capturing any Christian vessel he comes across. Bannon is really supposed to wage this covert war. That's an unwinnable war for all intents and purposes. The forces he's going up against is bigger than even the the entire Earth Core Navy. He's not expected to do well. In a large sense, this whole operation is to drag other governments in. Bannon knows this, Lloyd knows this. A lot of other people kind of don't get that. They think Ninth Space Cavalry will get in trouble, and who will be the real cavalry will be Earth Defense Fleet, Earth Core Defense Fleet 1, which so far we haven't even had a space battle. Our first real core space battle will probably come in the Ghost Ship, if then. So we've had well, actually, it is coming in the Ghost Ship because I just looked at the notes. So, you know, this is Bannon's role of being this both diplomat and soldier. We're really hoping he's such he's such a wonderful character. He's got colorful phrasing. We absolutely love him. We want to keep him. We're hoping that when you pick this up, you'll pick this up precisely because you have this wonderful, colorful guy, Race Bannon. We thank you in advance for your time.